Welcome to Superficial Intelligence. This is episode number 6 with comedian Priya Blunts.
Hi, guys.
Hey, we actually met when we were roasting each other. Comedy Fight Club.
Yes, it was actually, right now my record is 9 wins, 2 losses, and you were one of my losses.
Well, I don't know. If there was a rematch, you might win now.
Yeah, I've definitely sharpened that toolkit for sure over the last year. But yes, I will never forget that you beat my ass. It was also your birthday. Do you remember that?
It was my birthday, and I was wearing some Hanukkah llama shirt that my friend got me, which was pretty hilarious. I think they were giving me votes just because of the sweatshirt. Yeah, but it seemed like when I accepted the roast on my birthday, I was a little bit I'm a loser. I want to go get ripped apart on my birthday for roasting.
I mean, I feel like it's the mark of a real comedian when they do comedy on their birthday. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows how emotionally depraved you are.
Yes, for sure. Normal people don't need to laugh this much. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just that you are willing to sacrifice every memorable occasion just to do comedy. You would probably be doing comedy Christmas Eve or holidays. I don't know, there's a Jewish holiday I would not do any type of work on. That's Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Otherwise, probably, unless the crowds are really lame. You gotta kind of wonder what kind of crowd is going to be at a comedy club on Thanksgiving or something. I think they're mostly closed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't remember. What were some of the jokes? I think you had a white trash joke about me. There's something. What was it? What was the best one you think?
I feel like the best one I had was I was trying to do a KKK and a Jewish kind of fucking through the sheets.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and it didn't really land. I think it was too many dots to connect. But you you ripped apart my pilot. And that guy, I remember that one was it's something about her parents Dunkin' Donuts, and I was that if I was somebody else, that would be insanely accurate. You hit all the right notes.
Stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which proves that I am racist. To go back to your premise.
I'm just unfortunate, none of those hit home for me because I'm unfortunately just not very stereotypical in any way, but you hit all of them.
Did I say anything about MIA? Because I feel I was trying to write a joke about that. I was this girl's super cool. She looks awesome kind of Williamsburg girl, New York edgy. You look you should be doing something that. People should be following you, following your moves.
This is the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. Thank you.
You should lean into that when you're, as a performer, because you definitely have that element where you are standing out. I feel I look pretty basic, but you definitely have a unique style.
Yeah, but I feel at the same time it makes it hard for people to connect with it because they're who are you? What are you about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, for sure. I'm definitely leaning into it a lot more. I feel I'm starting to live my life no filter.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel I used to have different versions of myself, my work version, the version I am with my parents, the version I am, doing comedy. And over the past few months, I feel I'm trying to just morph that into one person.
I think that's really hard to do. Especially, I have a work persona, and it's just so much energy. It's come on, yeah, I don't want to Of course, you can't be full on you are all the time in an office environment. Like, you got to tone it down, especially as a comedian. But I mean, I was so serious that I would never even like let an element of that side of my personality come out, which is really sad, because in other situations of work and other environments, I kind of always like give a taste of it a little bit. So I just recently I started like kind of loosening up and just feeling more confident. But I think like that's the goal as a comedian, to get so comfortable with yourself and so committed to just being fearless and being authentic and like letting that out and connecting to that. So I'm also trying to get there and explore that too. For me, like, I think of in the earlier times, like some of the jokes, it might be like surface, but if you can go down into why do you feel that way? Why do you think that way? What is unique to your experience or your thought process on something, and that's where you could get vulnerable and people could kind of connect to it, and it's not just like, oh, any dumb bitch could say this joke.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. The problem with me is that sometimes I think some of my jokes, they get a little too dark. Like, things get dark if you really start getting down to why you think something is funny,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I started doing sets at the Grizzly Pear
Okay.
recently, and I feel like that's one of the places where you really, anything goes. You could say some things. You could get dark in there, and they'll accept it.
It's hard to take some of those dark jokes on the road.
I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, like, and someone was telling me that, like, Joe DeVito was telling me, oh, yeah, like, just be careful when you go outside of New York City trying to say that. And it's like you do feel people, like, pulling back because it's just, they don't have those types of problems.
Yeah.
Or coping mechanisms or like twisted outlook on it. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, for me, I think like going back and looking at some of my earlier stuff, I was a little bit horrified about how it just sounds like super privilegey. Like, it just, it's a little bit like punching down. And I think like I was trying to get into that Joan Rivers, like roasty, like jabbing, kind of biting humor, but I wasn't doing it from a right position, because then it just looked like I thought that I was better than everyone, which I don't. I'm always thinking that I'm worse than, or less than. So it's a weird perspective. But I was going back and like listening to or reading some earlier things. I'm like, this is just not relatable.
I know what you mean. I feel like when you're starting, you want to like show the audience how comfortable you are on stage. You know what I mean? So you're like making fun of them. You know what I mean? Like, making fun of them is like, seems like a good way to do that, but then you're like, that's actually probably not the right thing to do,
Oh yeah, when you like totally alienate them and then you just like descend deeper into a bomb. They hate you.
I mean, something that I definitely learned was, so a lot of comedians do this, like I never blame the audience. Like, how some comedians are like, oh, that one flew over your guys' heads, or like, you guys are too dumb to get that one, you can't, or like, I just try to make sure that I don't do that. I feel like I've been getting really vulnerable. Like, I've become kind of like an open book. Like, my sets, my sister actually recently asked me to take down a set that I had on YouTube
about your family.
Well, I call her out on some slutty shit that she did. I hope she doesn't watch this.
Oh no. Is she still single?
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Well, you had like one joke or something you were saying when you got married that she was
That's the
like,
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that she was upset that there wasn't anyone, or she ended up like having a romance or something.
So my Indian weddings last basically like a week. So she was
Okay.
like fucking one of my friends at the beginning of the week, and then she was fucking a different guy by the end of the week. I was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? This wedding
You're
is
like,
only
the
like.
reception is going to be really awkward
And it
now. I get it.
was.
Like, I have you sitting next to someone at the rehearsal dinner. Now I have to separate you for the reception.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to take that down. But that's okay. It's
Yeah.
it's older material at this point, so.
Yeah, you're just moving on beyond that. How long ago was that wedding?
Just over 3 years ago. June 2019. Yeah, June 2019.
Oh, damn. So it was like right before the pandemic.
Yep.
Right before complete lockdown.
I kind of wish I was a pandemic bride because I would have saved so much money.
I know, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what are the corner? I'm wondering like if I can hire a film crew and just record like a 5-minute set and expense it as a special recording.
Instead of a wedding?
No, at
wait.
the wedding.
Oh my God, that's perfect. My next wedding, I'll do that.
Okay.
I might use that for the next one.
I mean, I don't know. It's really tacky. Like, I always feel also that comedy, I know Whitney Cummings said this, but comedy is for strangers. It's not really for family.
Yeah, definitely. I would not say any of the things I say on stage to my family.
They've heard it. Mine has heard it. Yeah.
My mom recently found a set of mine online, and she sent me all these texts about, I can't believe you use such terrible language on stage. And I guess my dad like caught wind of it. He didn't watch the set, and I was like leaving for a show, like leaving the house for a show, and he was like, you don't use any bad words when you're on stage, do you? And I just was like, no, Dad, and I just walked out of the house. So, yep. That's where they're at. Yeah.
What's the biggest things in like the Indian culture for like the biggest no-nos that your parents are like really, no, don't do that.
I kind of do all the things I'm not supposed to do. I don't know. There's a lot of no-nos. Like if you aren't married, you shouldn't live alone. That's a big no-no. Generally,
really?
Yeah. They want you to like live with them.
To save money or something, or to like be. Okay, so during the pandemic, my mom had me come live with her because she was like a little bit scared. So I went out there for a couple weeks. We almost killed each other, but because that's how long it's been since I've lived with my mom, and I've totally forgotten now as an adult why. It's different. It's different when you're two adult women, because it's kind of like what. She wanted me to like clean the house. Then we got over a fight over how I was doing it, because I was like, you don't have the right cleaning supplies for the way that I clean. It was just weird how I was an adult in this kind of way of doing it. So I have my own cleaning tools and methodology.
I will say regression is very real. There's just something about like being in your childhood bedroom that makes you feel like an angsty teenager all over again, you know? And that's a part of my life I'd rather not relive. So I was like, I cannot keep living with you guys. I can't do it.
Yeah. My 20-year high school reunion is coming up,
Oh.
and I wasn't popular in high school at all. I always wanted to be different. I grew up in Texas. Everyone was kind of like, I want to say like super basic, but like in the ways where if you look on TikTok and you see like the Bama Rush, like trend where all the sorority girls, like everyone looked like a Barbie doll and kind of like dressed like super trendy, and they had like all the friends in this one friend group. It was called the Barbie Clan.
Oh my God. I'm already visualizing it. I see it. I see it in my head.
And so I think like I think
Clan.
some of the girls from high school like are still friends and still see each other regularly. And like some of the other and I was more on the freaks and geeks side. So I was like the art school girl, even though now I feel like super basic living in New York. But I'm like, how do I, like, first of all, the fact that I'm like considering going to it shows me that I'm not successful enough. That I would have the free time to go to a 20-year high school reunion. That is, I haven't made it yet, Priya.
Girl, we are all trying to make it. We are all trying to not go to our high school reunions. But so did you grow up in was it like a small town or a big town in Texas?
It was a suburb. It was like a suburb of a really big town. So, like, Friday Night Lights came out at the same time I was in high school, and it really was kind of like that, except for our football team sucked. But the football team, like 10 miles away, the next exit on the freeway, they were the state champs, which is a lot. I mean, people took things like super seriously, but they said that the kids at our school were more of like the drug kids, like the rich drug kids. I don't know.
Yeah, I was the freaks and geeks kind of, but I wasn't really the art school kid. I was the stoner. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah.
I did that too, and like, I can't. And I'm sober like 21 years now almost, and
Whoa.
It's kind of like, I told my friend, I was like, I can't even imagine going back to smoking weed, although I'd like to. I just feel like, again, I would do it all the time, and like, that's it. It's such, like, it could be such, if you can do it in a responsible way, awesome. Like, good for you. I think that's great. Nothing wrong to that, but for me, I was just like constantly abusing, like, you know, I would show up to stuff and just be like high out of my mind.
I feel like I'm getting a healthier relationship with weed. I used to huge pothead. Mm-hmm. Huge. And I feel like in the last few years, I've slowed it down. You know, my name is Priya Blunts, but I don't even really smoke any blunts anymore. It's more like Priya bongs. I'm more of like I'll hit the bong on the weekends kind of.
But that's like, that's serious. You do that alone though, with the bong?
Yeah, I'll just, take a bong hit, clean my house, like, just, it's a really great way. I'm a textbook overthinker.
Yeah.
So weed definitely just helps me kind of chill out a little bit.
Is it a glass bong, or is it like one of those plastic with the...
No, I have respect for myself.
Okay, you're like, I'm an adult now, so I have a glass bong. I feel like that was the biggest party foul, was like knocking it over and the water spilling everywhere.
I generally shouldn't smoke anything plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a pink glass bong.
Cool. When we were in college, I did go to art school at Pratt in New York, and in like the suites that were connected to each other, they made like this huge like bong out of PVC pipe that they got from the hardware store, and like someone else would have to light it, and then
because it was so big.
Yeah,
oh
it
my
was
God.
like 6 feet or something.
I want an art school bong.
There was all kinds of weird things that we made. Like, I made a purse, out of this silver leather, and I cinched it with like a matching silver belt that I got from Rainbow, and it looked like this bow, this oversized hobo bow. And then because I didn't want to go to Manhattan to get materials to make the strap, I went to the hardware store and I just got like this chain, and it was really heavy. Like you could never, people are like, oh my God, like I'd put it down and you'd hear it go, like, whatever. I was 20.
I kind of wish I went to art school. Oh, back to the Indian parents. One of the big no-nos is don't go to art school.
Oh, of course. But they don't know that when you get in there, the projects and the amount of work that you have to do, because I was a fashion major, so I had a BFA in fashion design. So that means we had to drape, pattern make, cut, sew, not just sketch or design the product that we wanted to do. We had to actually make it. And I feel like all the students' work in school, mine, I know, look like garbage. I was not a good seamstress. I did not get into that. I almost failed out of school because I was like, why do I have to learn how to make this? Because we're just going to make it in China. Like,
Yeah, let's be real. Yeah.
I was like, what's the point? I'm never going to have to be in an office environment, you know, designing or making a new collection and sewing it myself, which is true. I work in the industry now. Like, I've never had to sew after leaving school. And I think, like, I even don't sew buttons. I think that was like the most of what I did. And for 20 years, I carried around a Singer sewing machine until finally this last move, I was like, I'm getting rid of this. This does not bring me joy. Discovering pins and needles in some garment that I made haphazardly does not bring me joy. A hem falling out of a dress, no.
Do you still have any of the pieces that you made?
I do.
You do? Do you wear them?
No. They don't fit me. I think when I was in school, like one of the things in high school that I used to like to do was thrift a lot, because when you're 18 years old, everything looks good on you. Like you have that kind of like small frame, you can wear whatever and even if you look like a freak show or you're wearing garbage, you know, you're 18. It looks cool.
Yeah.
So I got away with a lot of things, and I would buy like I had this acid wash denim mini skirt, and I would buy like the RIT dye and re-dye it to like bright purple, and then I got all these different colored zippers, and I stitched the zippers like in patterns across the front of it, and found like 80s high heel fuchsia pumps that I wore with that. It was just, that was so much fun for me, was making up these crazy random outfits.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I was a huge thrifter too, because I'm the younger sibling, and so I was like, it's either hand-me-downs or I can thrift and have fun. I actually used to go through my mom's old closet.
Yeah.
From like the 80s all the time, and just like I'd like cut up a blouse or something, you know. She had a lot of these like silk blouses with like high necks, and I would just kind of, you know,
Oh, that's cool.
scoop neck them, make them a little, you know, fun.
Was she pissed?
No, she was never gonna wear any of that stuff. It was just like sitting in the attic. So
Oh, okay. That's cool. I would just take my mom's stuff without asking. Just be like, I'm wearing this. She's like, no, you're not. That's mine. Are you wearing my shirt? Are you wearing my shoes? Like, I don't know. That's something to look forward to when you have kids, right?
yeah, whenever that happens.
I don't know. Like they're always like, it's, none of my stuff is mine anymore. It all belongs to you. I think that's what my parents used to always say. Like, you took possession of all of my stuff.
Wait, are you an only child?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my dad remarried, and I have two way younger half brothers. Like, the youngest one, he's going to college. He's starting college on Tuesday. He's moving there, and I'm like, oh my God. I can't imagine starting college again. I think I was always in a rush to grow up.
Same.
I could not wait.
Same. And now it's funny because now at 30, I feel like I'm trying to backtrack and relive. I feel like I lived my 30s and my 20s, and now I want to live my 20s and my 30s, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now? Like, what are your goals this year?
So, I really want to, in some way, somehow, get to South by Southwest. Like,
Okay.
and actually, that's kind of why I think I went deep into roasting. Like, I saw that as possibly an avenue to get there, because Roast Battle does go to South by Southwest, and they bring their performers and stuff. So,
Oh, that's cool.
so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be starting a podcast myself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's called The Stoned Therapist. And we're just going to get really baked and unpack trauma in a funny way.
Okay.
Yeah. And I really want a weed sponsorship. That was my, I don't want to pay for weed anymore. That's my goal for this year too.
Okay, that's good. Do you have like a brand? If you're out there?
Jeter's. Jeter pre-rolls, if you're watching this. I like your stuff.
I actually met someone, I got to link you up with them, but when I was in LA, I went to see Gianmarco Cerezi perform, and his like high school friend, he was selling weed, and he was selling like pre-rolls and everything, and I took them, but I didn't smoke them. I gave them to my boyfriend, and thank you anyway for the gift. But see if I could maybe do an intro there.
Oh, that could be interesting. A lot of like random like dispensaries and like weed brands will follow me. So I'm trying, like I really do want to, like, why are you following me if you're not giving me stuff,
You're like, can I at least get a t-shirt?
Something. I will represent, I will wear the t-shirts everywhere. I'll wear them on stage. Like, I'll do it.
You're like a lighter, anything.
Yeah.
Anything. So I can't imagine like, is there like a particular, before I get triggered and trigger everyone listening to this, is there a particular strand of cannabis? So white.
I really like Girl Scout cookies. It's a strain that's supposed to like not give you the munchies, which is ironic because it's called Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, I've been doing a lot of research on like which strains won't give me the munchies, and there's actually a bunch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Or you can do what I did. So my friends in high school were models, and when we smoked together, their whole thing was that they would not eat. Like they would lick like one Oreo cookie and then be done. I was like, aren't you guys hungry anymore? Like, anything more? Like, I'd feel gross for eating 5 cookies.
I feel like I don't know. I definitely, I had a phase in high school where I was like, I'm not going to eat stuff.
At all?
Well, like, I was eating stuff, but it was like a lot of carrots, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I remember one time I was like, I'm not going to eat breakfast. I'm not going to eat lunch. And then I would be at school at the cafeteria, and I would eat like one chicken nugget, and I would like beg the people sitting around me like to eat their scraps, and they're like, this is like the ends of the meat. Like, you don't want to eat this. This is garbage. They're like, why don't you eat some food? I'm like, no, I'm on a diet. And then I would go home and just eat like spoonfuls of peanut butter. And my mom's like, you're not going to lose weight if you keep eating peanut butter. It's 200 calories a spoonful. She's like, it's called butter. You're eating butter.
Wait, did you ever do the gum diet? Like the one where they're just like, you just chew gum all the time instead of eating? That was like,
No.
That was a thing. I don't know.
What
Yeah.
was hot when I was in high school was like Atkins diet and the cabbage soup diet,
Oh, God.
which I never did, but that like makes you fart a lot.
Did you ever see that Vogue article it was like a really old, like the diet? It was like for breakfast, like 1 grapefruit and 1 cigarette. Like it was.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I saw one that was like 2 boiled eggs,
Yeah.
or like 1 boiled egg for breakfast. For lunch, 1 boiled egg and a glass of Chardonnay. And like you could have a glass of Chardonnay at every meal, and then at the end of the night, they like finish the rest of the bottle of the Chardonnay.
I could get behind that diet.
I'm like, I guess if you could get drunk all the time and then forget the pain of the hunger that you're experiencing, I don't know. But my friend was just reminding me this, like when I was younger in my 20s, I had like a lot of problems with sneak eating, binge eating, like my weight was always fluctuate. I don't know how I got over it. I'm like, I guess I just grew out of doing it. I feel like there's like a maturity, because I felt like when I hung out with people that were older than me, like they learned how to eat
I know what you
in a
mean.
healthy way.
Yeah.
Things that didn't trigger them. for some-
Relationships with food are.
Yeah.
That's a lifelong relationship that you need to work on, I feel like. Yeah, I think it's like, when you're like 16 and like a girl, you're just so impressionable and like
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and I can see why like social media can be so damaging for people that age. Like I was just looking at like magazines, and that was enough to feel like, wait, I'm supposed to look like that,
Right.
But then as you get older, you just kind of realize like, who cares? Just like,
As I've gotten older, I'm like, I need energy to do my job, to pay my rent. So I would like to, this is a messed up thing to say, but I would like to, just be able to work out and diet, or diet and sleep in the bed all day, because I have no physical energy to get up and run around and do what I need to do, or I don't need my brain to function. This sounds very ableist, or I'm punching down on attractive people right now. People with naturally good metabolisms.
yeah, my weight, I gained like 40 pounds in college. Like it was crazy. I gained like 40 pounds in college, and now I'm slowly, and then I slowly like, lost it, gained it back, you know how it goes.
Yeah, I do know how it goes. I think like I've been lucky though that my clothes all fit for the past 15 years, maybe. Like it stayed the same. But then I'm like, all right, now I just need to throw this out because it's not in style anymore.
I mean, just wait. Just wait. It'll come
But
back.
you'll be stupid looking.
It'll come back around. That's what you save it for your kids. It will come back around.
Yeah. I know, but who has the storage space at all?
I mean, we are in Jersey.
Yeah, I feel like I miss thrifting, but that's like a fun way to kind of keep your wardrobe updated.
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely still thrift a lot. I love like upcycled vintage. That's like my thing. But they really tack on a premium for that upcycle part. They really do.
Because they go out there and they dig. That to me is the funnest part, is the digging.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're going to find. And then when you find like some baseball jacket that's like a windbreaker from 1992, then you have the challenge of wearing it and not making yourself look like an idiot.
I know what you mean. I feel like I went thrifting in LA. That's a great place to go thrifting. And it was nice. I found like some like old racing shirts that like I cropped.
Like NASCAR?
Yeah, like they're like really fun and colorful. And so
Oh,
I was
that's
like, I'm gonna
cool.
crop these. These are great. I also I'm a big eBay whore. Like I'm on eBay watching all sorts of random stuff. Like
You have sellers that you follow, or do you just know what you're looking for and search it?
sometimes I know exactly what I'm looking for and I'll just search for it. But then sometimes like, so I collect like old vintage Playboys.
Okay.
It's like a thing that I watch out for. But there was this seller that I bought these Playboys from.
Are they sticky or damaged?
No.
I'm sorry.
But the
you never
centerfolds
thought
are missing
you
on
never,
a lot of them.
You never thought about that? Oh, the centerfolds are missing.
Yeah. I guess I never thought about it that way. That's kind of
They've all
gross.
been used.
Oh my God. And I touched them. They're in my house. Fuck.
Any like dog-eared pages?
I try to go for the ones that are still in really good shape.
Those porno mags, they're like generational. They are like thrift store shirts. You know,
Basically.
I guess it's the same idea, except you can wash a thrift store shirt.
I guess I could leave the Playboy in the plastic. That's an option, right? We could leave it in the
I
plastic.
mean, I think you should. I think you should look at it like you would with an archival vintage like garment. Just get some tweezers and turn the pages like that.
Well, let's be real. Like, I'm not like actively reading these. Like, for me, it's like just like finding covers that I think are really cool or iconic. Like, right now, I'm on the hunt for Pamela Anderson's like first cover.
Oh wow.
At like a decent price because it's out there. It's just really expensive. And then I kind of want every Playboy from the year that I was born. And then I actually have some like Playboys from other countries because like there was like
Oh,
a Playboy
wow.
China that I got. I thought that was interesting. Was it China? I don't know. That doesn't sound right. But I also I came across.
No,
a
it was
Braille.
definitely North Korea.
I came
They
across.
all have the same haircut.
I used to have that haircut in high school, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. There's a TikTok channel that's allegedly North Korean, and she's like, I'm living in North Korea, and how do we know that?
We don't. But I kind of want to watch that channel.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of things. I guess that's how I knew about the haircut, that they just have like a list of haircuts, supposedly, I don't know, of, you know, what's allowed and what's not allowed by the government. And so women have a limited amount of haircuts, men have much less. And there was something about, they were saying life for women in North Korea is a lot harder because there's more women to men, and the women have to offer the men a dowry when they marry them.
Oh my God.
I feel like that happens naturally in New York.
What do you mean? Like because there's more women than men?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, the dowry part? Are we talking about the dowry part? Yeah, North Korea, that sounds like that. What happens if you just don't get one of those haircuts though? Like what happens?
I don't know if they'll cut your hair like that. Like, you're not allowed to go against the government rule. So it's like you pick off the menu and that's what you get. So I don't know, it's limited. I mean, you got bigger problems because you're trying to get home before the lights go out, the sun sets, and you have no electricity.
That's true. And I'm over here worried about the haircut. Yeah.
But how did she get a TikTok and a camera?
You know, people have their ways. People like I went to Cuba a few years ago, and they told, because you know Cuba, the communism, they don't get a lot of, like, they don't have access to a lot of the same internet and like all of that. You know, they don't get stuff from the outside. So people in Cuba were actually telling me that there's like this like hard drive, like people ship over like hard drives with just like content, TV shows and music and like all sorts of stuff that they can't get, and then that hard drive just like travels the country, and people, like, that's how they get their content fix.
Oh my God.
So people have their ways.
This is a lot. Like, if you can imagine censorship in that way. I mean, we're lucky. It's crazy to think, though, of stuff that gets taken down off of Twitter, gets taken down off of YouTube, that gets shadow banned, and kind of dealing with that. I think as a comedian, I'm thinking about that more and more, like, oh, you know, what can you say? What can't you say? It feels like there's a whole nother level of sensitivity.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like for me, I try to just come from a place of positivity. Like I don't, like, there's no malice in what I'm saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if some people do find it offensive, like, somebody's always going to find something offensive, let's be real. But so I feel like if you're just coming from a good place and making a lighthearted joke about something, that should be okay. Like, as long as it's not at the expense of anybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like that could work. That's okay. It's hard with roasting, though. Like, there's no rules in roasting.
The thing is about Comedy Fight Club, which is like so funny, and the things that they like there are like the most racist, the most, like, if it's more cruelty to, if someone's being like sexually molested or murdered.
It's kind of refreshing, because it's like you don't really get to go to any spaces where people are just so outrageous, you know? Like,
yeah.
I grew up in the 90s, like, things were outrageous once upon a time, and then it just slowly, you know, got softer and softer and softer. So it is like I remember my first roast there, they did an entire "women suck" chant during my battle. I was like, okay.
Against you?
Well, it was me and Mika Mo were battling each other, so it was a woman-on-woman battle, and they got like a "women suck" chant going, and I won that battle, but I felt like I lost at life, you know?
That's hard. That's hard. Did the panel go after you? That was one of the comments on our panel. They were like, well, you know, I was really excited that it was two women roasting each other, and I'm disappointed. There was a female judge, and she said that. She was like, this, way to phone it in, guys.
Yeah. I feel like so I remember they had made like an OnlyFans kind of comment. I hate those.
About
so much.
you?
Yeah. Because I said something like, it's okay, I'm sorry, all you have is like your page. I was being a smartass. And
to the judges?
To the judges, which I realized, like, you don't do that. Like, don't do that. You know.
I mean, you can if it was really funny, but if it's not funny, it just makes you look worse. Like,
exactly.
If it's like mediocre, like, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, and then he got me
And
back with
it's-
this OnlyFans zinger that sent the crowd into a whirlwind. So
What did he say?
I said something to the effect of like, "That's okay. Like all you have is like your little Patreon." Because like he had a podcast. And then he was like, "Priya, what's your Patreon?" You know, and that sent the crowd wild. And I think like that was a big reason.
Are you on OnlyFans?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, you know, because you're like, well, I don't know. I don't know if you were or not. but-
I'm not on OnlyFans. I'm not.
Okay. You look more like a Suicide Girls to me, anyway. Do you
What?
remember that?
What is that?
Oh my God. It was like a MySpace. I'm like, let me tell you
Oh, like those
something,
little-
It was like an OnlyFans. It was like a MySpace page. It was goth and tattoo girls that were posing like nude or in, I don't know if they're fully nude or in like bikinis and stuff like that, webcamming. It was called Suicide Girls, but they were all goth.
That sounds kind of hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like if I was to ever do like an OnlyFans or something like that, I would want it to be kind of like funny. I thought about doing one where I smoke a bunch of weed and then I film a mukbang. Like I just get really ripped and then I eat a bunch of like Taco Bell or like, you know, just pick a theme. Like
But in a bikini?
I would never eat in a bikini.
I think there's a lot of men that would subscribe to watching women binge. The one idea, and I swear to God, don't anyone take this idea from me, is I thought like when I get pregnant, it would be funny to do pregnant Jello wrestling with another pregnant woman.
That sounds really dangerous, Cher. Your doctor's not gonna sign off on that. You can't even fly. Well, I guess after a certain point, you can't fly when you're pregnant. Jello wrestling. I'm imagining that. That does. I feel like people would be into that. It's so
Yeah, it'd be
specific.
it would be funny, but like you guys would have to be really careful, you know, just like sit on each other. I don't know.
Maybe not the first
What's with
pregnancy.
it?
Maybe like the second one. You know.
I mean, like sumo wrestlers do it, right?
But they're not pregnant.
The next series is like baby wrestling.
Wrestling moms, like stage moms, but wrestling stage moms.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm just thinking of things I can do to keep the brand relevant once you know, a lot of comedians perform or film specials when they're pregnant. I'm going to go beyond that.
You know, I met this comic from Philly who I was really surprised when in her set she talked about having like a newborn, because she like has like that kind of like edgy, like tattooed, like you just wouldn't expect that she's just like married with a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And she was talking about how she used to like go to open mics and shows pregnant all the time, and then after her baby was born, she would just bring the baby places, and I was like, oh, does your baby ever like cry at the mics or at the shows? And she was like, actually, my baby finds it soothing. I think it's because while it was in the womb, it heard me doing stand-up all the time, and so now stand-up is like soothing for it.
Great. This poor
gave
kid's
me hope.
traumatized. Did you think, like, is that just a female thing where, like, immediately you just become, like, protective or maternal or, like, a little bit, like, judgmental? Like, what are you doing? You're a bad mother. I think that's, like, a societal kind of programming, right?
A little bit. And I try not to pass too much judgment, because everybody's like parenting styles are so different. Like so many of my friends, you know, got into that phase of their life where they're having kids, and the parenting style from one couple to the other is just crazy. It's great because then you get to kind of pick and choose like what you would do, you know?
I just saw this thing on TikTok. I'm like, everything's about TikTok, but I just saw this thing. It was this girl asking, did you grow up with a naked mom or a clothed mom? And I'm like, I definitely had a naked mom. Like
Naked
my
mom.
mom
Yeah.
was, because also do you have a brother?
No.
Right. So like my mom was like always naked, like walking around the house and I'm kind of like that at home. And I think my boyfriend was like, "What?" Like, he wasn't used to
You had a
be-
clothed mom?
Yeah, or like being with a partner that would just walk across the room naked or like get out, just be like freely getting dressed in front of him. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, is that weird? I didn't realize that
I didn't
people found
realize
it weird.
I didn't realize that there were women that were like not being naked in front of their husbands.
Well, that's a problem. That's when you start the therapy.
Not in a like, I guess not like when you're not being intimate, but still, like why would you? Maybe if you're not comfortable in your body.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, it feels like either people that just don't have that comfort level with their body, or I don't know. Or actually that might make a little bit of sense, because it's like if your husband sees you naked all the time for years and years, so I guess like being naked only once in a while around him, you know what I mean? Like it'll keep it
Interesting.
interesting.
Or you were saying there's like a flip book, a progressive flip book of like lost skin elasticity and gravitational pulls.
Oh my God. Yo, I am so happy we live in a modern society where we don't have to age if we don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, aging is going to happen, but there's so much shit out there to not have it happen. So much. And I'm so happy to be born in this time for that specific reason. Like,
Well, I guess there's a lot of exercises you can do.
yeah, there's exercises, like, they make all kinds of awesome products. Like I have this like light thing. It's like blue light and red light.
Oh, yeah. Does that work? That's like the red light therapy, right?
Mhm.
LED, is that what it's called?
Yeah. And I use the red light and the blue light. I feel like the blue light definitely works. That one's supposed to like help kill like bacteria on your face, or and then the red one is supposed to stimulate collagen. I don't really know if it's working, but I guess I trust this. I read about the science and it sounded okay.
I've tried it out. I've been a sucker and tried it out, and I stood in front of one of those red light panels.
Mhm.
It was about the size of a mirror, naked, and then it would tell you when to rotate, and kind of like if you've ever done a tanning bed, like a standing tanning bed, and it would tell you when to rotate or whatever. Hard to say if this stuff is going to work. I feel like a lot of times when I do these beauty treatments, I feel like an idiot because I'm like, I always think I have the imagery of that 1950s exercise machine where you would stand up and then like this rubber belt would just shake you while you were standing, and it was like, this is going to burn fat, and it didn't do anything.
Yeah. So the light stim, I don't know if it's working, but I only realized that you're supposed to wear like special glasses, and I hadn't been wearing them, so it's definitely made me a little blinder. So I don't know. That's the only effect I think I can measure from it.
It's the, is it just for your face?
Yeah, it's like a little wand. It's pretty small. I want to get this panel.
Shout out to Amazon. No, for real, you could get a panel. I want to see some studies. I want to see some real results from this. If anyone is using light therapy and can prove it that it works, I'm interested. Like, I'm kind of I'm of the generation where I need immediate results. Like, I need to go in, have my hair bleached out with tinfoil, come out and be like, yes, I got what I paid for. Or go in there, have someone inject me with Botox, and then have my face be paralyzed 2 weeks later, and I know and I can see that it's working. I get super suspicious. I also did one of the laser facials, which is another one of the laser light facials, like Skin Laundry. They have like a subscription service. And one of my friends, she swears by it that it helps improve the texture. And of course, like, I had a free one that she gifted me as an intro, and I did it. And as soon as I came out, they were trying to sell me a package. I'm like, I'm gonna wait and see what the results are from this one treatment. And the clinician was like, well, you'll see it after you've bought 5 or 6. I'm like, all right.
You know, yeah, I don't
Scam likely.
Yeah, I don't know about the laser facials. I've always heard that, like, it's not great. It's not great for pigmented skin because, like, I don't know, shit could go really wrong, I guess. But I am a big fan of laser hair removal.
That
Big
works.
fan. That
Yeah.
works. It works. And all the people that said it didn't, you just weren't consistent about it. I don't grow hair anymore. It's amazing.
Oh, on your arms? You
On
did
my
it?
legs, on my arms. Like, I go like once a year for like a maintenance appointment, and it's incredible how much it just changes your life to never have to worry about having to shave your legs, you know?
I wish I could do that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. It has to be like if you're fair-haired
Ooh.
or if you're a blonde, your hair
Yes.
needs to be really dark against your skin in order for it to work for some reason. I did do a little bit of the hair removal therapy, and it worked a lot on my like bikini area, like my thighs. The best investment. I probably should go back and try to do some more, but yeah, I don't think the results are super great if you're fair.
Got it. I will say, like, being like naked on like this like table with the lady like pointing a laser at like your vagina, like, it's a very vulnerable moment. It's very vulnerable. I remember at some point the aesthetician, is that how you say it? She was like, oh my God, you're a comedian. You should totally use this joke as like she's zapping my butthole, you know? And I was like, I will totally use that joke. Please pay attention to what you're doing. Like, yeah, when somebody's zapping your butthole, you will do whatever they ask.
Some of the hair, though, is good to keep there.
Is it?
Yeah,
Why?
I think
For the
it's-
winter? Or like,
Yeah. I think it's as a flavor saver. No, that is disgusting. I think
Oh my God.
no. I think in a way, like, it's there as sort of. They're like, oh, you know, you're into 70s porn. You collect mags. No, I'm just kidding. But it's there as like some sort of a protection for your skin and the bacteria that comes from those areas. I'm not a doctor, okay?
that sounds, I think the science checks out on that one. Yeah.
I think it's an evolutionary trait that we've developed. So, I don't know. Do you have any shows tonight, or what are you working on?
No shows tonight, but I'm producing a show at the Stand later this month that I'm super excited
Nice.
about. Yeah, it's gonna be my first time producing at the Stand. We got a really nice lineup. It's actually a show that I'm doing with Mika Mo
Okay, cool.
and
Your
Gilberto.
bestie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're both from Queens, and we started comedy together, so it just kind of like, it just clicked. And it is good to have like somebody to go through this journey with, you know?
Yeah. And producing a show is no joke. It's a lot of work. So someone to help you balance that in terms of whether it's doing the social media posts, just so you don't have to do everything by yourself, and you have a host too, or the both of you, one of you is hosting.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to host it. Yeah, producing it's not my favorite. I'll be honest. It's really not my favorite thing because I kind of just want to worry about my set, and now all of a sudden I'm worrying about like ticket sales. I feel like a sleazy club promoter, you know, like that guy that's like hitting everybody up on Facebook Messenger. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, it's the worst. Like before I started comedy, like I'd have friends that would hit me up about their shows, and not always comedy shows, like just different shows in general. And it's like, we know, you know, they would just message you like, hey, how's it going? How you liking your new apartment? You still in Brooklyn? That's cool. So anyway, I got this show. And you're like, fuck you. Like,
I feel.
And now that you have to do it, it feels really, it feels low.
It does, and that's like verbatim that's like verbatim the conversation I've had with like 20 people this week. Yeah, that's why. And the thing about producing is like people don't get their tickets for things till like the last minute usually. So you're just like, you know, like freaking out for the days leading up to the event, and then at the last minute all these tickets get sold, and you're like, phew, thank God.
I mean, the other thing is, so did you say when it was? It's going to be on your social media.
Yes.
So anyone that is listening, you can come through to this show at the Stand.
August 28th. It's
August
Sunday.
28th, Sunday. This is what I would do if I were you. It is so scammy, but this is what I would do. Instead of being like, hey, how are you? I would just drop some bombshell information about your life and then just make them feel like, oh my God. And then be like, by the way, I'm going to be telling all new jokes about it. Would love to see you.
I mean, I kind of, that's another route. Yeah, I can definitely drop.
That's an angle.
Yeah. But yeah, I will be telling all new jokes in case you're wondering. Yeah, I will be telling. My set has totally evolved from a few months ago. I feel good about it.
Okay, cool. And you removed the part that your mom and your sister didn't like.
Yeah.
Are they coming? They better come.
No. My sister lives in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And I'd rather not have my mom in attendance. I'll just like, usually what I do is like I'll show her like a tape, and I'll like just fast forward through the parts that like she has no business seeing. So it really just leaves like 30 seconds of like an intro.
You just like walk onto the stage
Yeah.
and you wave, and then at the end you bow. But this has been really cool. Thank you for coming out and braving 3 trains, 4 boroughs, because you went from Queens to Manhattan, back out to Brooklyn,
By accident.
and then back to Jersey. So this has been an epic journey for you, and I appreciate it. And so excited for you.
Thank you so much for having me.